You're listening to thinkbigradio.com, where big thinkers come to teach and learn. Your goals are our goals, and your success makes us successful. You're listening.
Big day, everyone. This is Ken Big Blake from kenbigblake.com. Today, hosting another thinkbigradio.com. I have one of our special guests on here, as you can see her. She's going to share with you her passion, how she got to where she is, and a couple of things that's going to help you ladies out. Wyona, how are you today?
I am well, thank you. How are you today, sir?
Great, great. I'm very great. I've been wanting to get you on here for a while. You're doing some great things in the community. But before we get started with the interview, what is the best way to reach you?
Well, the best way to reach me is to visit my website, Mothers of AAMM.org. That's Mothers of AM Inc.org. Or you can send us an email at info@mothersofam.org. Those are the two best point of contacts.
All right, great. So, well, let's start off with, one of our traditional questions is just tell us a little bit about yourself, large family, small family, just get us kind of warmed up here and started.
Yes, my family, I come from a family of 5. It was my parents and the 3 of us. I'm the middle child. I have an older brother and a younger sister. And we're from Taylorsville, North Carolina. That's foothills, mountain area near Boone. And that's where I grew up. However, I have lived here in Charlotte for the past 17 years.
Okay, it's been a while, been a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so now tell us a little bit about the Mothers of African American Male Millennials. How did you come up with that concept?
Well, Mothers of African American is Mothers of AM. Technically, yes, Mothers of African American Male Millennials. And I came up with the concept once I found myself staring at my son about to be taken to a mental health institution because he had attempted to end his own life. And I became the mother of someone who I became a suicide attempt survivor at that time as a mother, but I had already been a daughter of a mother of a suicide attempt survivor. So I began talking about my experiences to different people. And I quickly realized that there were more women in my generation and who were mothers of African-American male millennials experiencing the same thing, but no one was talking about it. I think because I had been exposed to suicide attempt since I was the age of 8, between the age of 8 and 10 years old, I was more accustomed to speaking about it. It was like, okay, I'm a survivor. So I was talking about it. No one else was talking about it. And I wanted to offer those women a safe space to do that, to have those hard discussions and heal together as mothers. Mothers healing, mothers helping mothers heal.
Right. Yeah, I definitely understand it. That had to be something terrible to go through to have a child that wanted to attempt to have suicide, and I do see that when it comes to our statistics, we're left behind in a lot of different things, and that may be one of the ones that we have to alert everyone to. I know as a veteran, we have veteran hotlines that, we can call, but who do you have to call, for things like that other than the regular? But we're dealing with millennials. They're a different type of, a different type of person, So what was one of the biggest things that you found helped or comforted you once you decided to start having these conversations?
I well, once I decided to, well, because like I said, I guess because I had already had that experience, and my background, I have human service. I have a bachelor's of science in human services, and I also have a psychology background. So
Okay.
I know how to do self-help. So I immediately do certain things that will not so much distract me, but keep me grounded
Okay.
and put me on the path to healing. So some of those things would be, one of my favorite go-tos is meditation, doing a little bit of light yoga, like sun salutations, a lot of walking, a lot of reading, and I love to write. But one of the biggest things that I've been doing in the last 10 years or so has been volunteering, doing community work. So that is very gratifying. That helped me heal through so much trauma, because I was and my allergies are acting up because it put me in a position where I could help others, which took that woesome feeling away. I didn't have that woe is me, because there's always someone else out there worse, in a worse situation or a more difficult situation
Right.
than you are.
So as a mother of a millennial, what what would be some good advice that you would give to a woman who, and not only just with suicide, with the other different things that plague our young men? What type of advice would you give them for someone who's just experiencing, some type of setback?
Well, I strongly encourage people. One thing I have learned, I should say, is to be mindful of uh, it's not just how you say it, but the choice words in combination with how you say it.
Okay.
Say, for instance, if you see someone struggling with those thoughts or hardships, be upfront and ask them, are you contemplating harming yourself? At that moment, if you ask them those questions, they'll take a pause. It's likely that they'll take a moment because they notice that you're observing them and that you're concerned. And in most instances, at that moment, at that critical moment, that's what they need.
Okay.
Another thing is to be sure to provide an opportunity for them to open up and make them feel comfortable.
Mhm.
Full on attention. I don't care if you light some candles, do some aromatherapy, but the full attention, opening up, attentive listening, active listening, being sure to say something along the lines of, I'm concerned about your well-being, or
Okay.
talk to me, or tell me what's going on. And even to the point to where if you get to a point and you're not sure what to say, call the lifeline. And that lifeline is National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number. That's that 800-273-TALK,
Okay.
800-273-8255 number, and just let them know that you're in a situation with someone that may be contemplating harming themselves.
Okay. So now you have a very, very wonderful website. And what I'd like to do is just share some of the website with our listeners so that they'll see exactly, what they're, what they're going to look at. And then if you want to, kind of like walk along as I ask you a couple of questions about it. So give me a second, and you don't need to see me when it's time to share. All right. So we do have the site up. And now I'm going to just pull that screen up. All right. So everyone should be able to see the screen. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I really love how you have here, a woman sharing with her child, especially in this time that we're dealing with COVID, what appears to be the proper way to wash his hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, that came from, actually, I received a grant from by way of Flip Calls. Flip Calls is a nonprofit entity that helps other small nonprofits with donations, with setting a platform for donations. And the grant came by way of Black Lives Matter. I was just completely thrilled at that fact and crying and everything. And but we've worked on this. We're still working on the website. It does look magnificent. They showed me a couple of mock-ups, and actually, I think they listened to me very well in those first couple of conversations, to where when they showed me this, they hit it nail on the head. One of the things in my programs that I want to develop, one of the things that I didn't really say earlier was, when I was in the hospital and I was watching my son, the orderly and the security guard take my child off, I was by myself. I was standing there by myself, and I wanted to create some sort of support mechanism or program for mothers who are experiencing that, where other mothers will come to the hospital and sit with them, or they will be a reference or a resource for the mother sitting there by the bedside, like I was doing for my son. And hopefully someone to give them a pamphlet or give them our number or the website, and they can call us and we'll have a conversation or just be a support for that mother. And the other thing, the reason why I love this so much is because a lot of people forget, if something was to happen to our sons, we have to, in many cases, assume the role of mother to our grandchildren.
Right.
So I also have a campaign where, because of that very fact, I would like to, at the very least, offer some relief for the grandmother who is the mother acting role when they go back to school, when the children go back to school. I have a book bag campaign where you can throw school utensils in the book bag, software now that they're working from home, something for the teacher, and give it to the child. It would be one less thing that the mother would have to worry about, the grandmother.
Right.
And I know I went off on a tangent, but
no, it's not. I mean, when you're passionate about something, you're going to share, because it's so much inside of you. And I'm just glad that you were able to bring this out to help people. And one of the things that I'm going to point to on the website at this moment is there's a monthly meeting sign up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this button, and I want to make sure that everybody who's here at this mark in the video and the Think Big interview, make sure that you can go to this monthly meeting sign up. Now they have dates on here. So they've already had one, March 9th. But sign up so that way you'll be able to receive those emails, and also be able to, have this or just help, or just assist. Even if you don't fall under this category, I'm sure that there's a large majority of us out here that that know someone who has committed suicide or know someone who has attempted. And it's not just the effect of the immediate, just like you brought up, Wyona, is that some of these mothers now take up the mother role for the grandchildren, and not talking about, the other things that they may have had going on that you have to step in for.
Yeah,
Now, so what
exactly.
would you say, now, this is one of the things that we always, talk about on Think Big Radio is definitely business. And so, like, what steps did you take to build your brand, or marketing techniques did you come up with when you decided to, bring this into fruition?
Well, I took it easy, um, in saying that I was strategic. First, I have a consulting business, and I practice with it, marketing techniques with that.
Okay.
My consulting business is cultivating knowledge, and it's for um, industrial organizational psychology.
Okay.
And so I played around with that and just took some of the things that I've learned over the last couple of years and applied it here. Um, but I'm still learning.
Right.
And because I went through cultivating knowledge through my first organization, it led me to realize that I wanted to go through Google to build my website.
Okay.
And it got me noticed, apparently. So yeah,
All right.
I'm still learning.
Well, I'm glad that you are sharing. You shared a lot of little tidbits, along with what your passion is with the mothers and their children. One of the things that we're going to make sure that after we've done the recorded version, that we put some of those links down there, so that whether it's a mother, a father, or anyone that's looking to start a business, to see some of those different insights, and just turn them on to some things that'll also benefit them.
Good. I appreciate that. Yes.
Okay, so we're here to talk about today the mothers of African American male millennials. And you did mention that you also had a consulting business. We do find that a lot of our big thinkers can handle, more than uh, one thing at a time. And would you say that, as a woman, do you think that that's something that's just inherent, because you guys do have so many additional roles to handle outside of business?
That's a great question. Um, I, I have to be honest. Now, I don't know if we had this conversation, but I am I wouldn't call myself a feminist, but I am pro-woman. So I'm gonna try not to go too far with that
Okay.
answer. But yes, I do think so. Yes.
Hmm.
I think it's innate. I think it's natural. I think it's a given for us to uh, just juggle more than one thing. A single mom, or even someone who's not single, uh, learns very quickly with more than one child, even one child, how to multitask and do more than
Right.
one thing at once. I mean, more than one thing at the same time, multitasking. And yes, I do.
Yes, I remember, as well. I came from a single family household myself, and I lived with my mother a large, well, let's say a medium part of my life, and then just watching all of the different things that she had to do made you really appreciate the sacrifices that you've made. And you also had to sacrifice your time just to get the education that you needed, and then build upon a tragic situation. How is your son doing today?
I ask him all the time. He's like,
Okay.
Mom, you ask me that all the time. I'm good, Mom. I'm good. And I also wanted to take a moment to say I do have an older son who turns 32 this year, who has experienced hardships, although he hasn't. And the hardships are stimulated because of the color of his skin. Although he hasn't attempted suicide, it's hardships is in my experience, precursor to making end of life choices, of course. So my youngest son, one thing I will say, he does pride himself that I do have a human service, a mental health background.
Okay.
And that may have helped him along the way. Because before I got to the hospital that night, he was still kind of combative or upset because he didn't want to stay there. And he's like, Mama, I told them that you have a psychology degree. And I'm like, son, it's not that kind of psychology degree. It's not clinical. I said, I have some knowledge, but mine's more behavioral, like it's more for the workplace more so. And after he came home, of course, I was able to, after, going through the guilt, mothers have a massive amount of guilt after going through seeing their child go through that process. So while I'm dealing with the guilt of, although I had all of that knowledge, I still couldn't keep my son from crossing that line.
Right.
So afterwards, I made sure that, and this was years ago, I'm still making sure that I check in with him, and I'm still teaching myself. Just because a person has that background doesn't mean that they are well versed and super knowledgeable in that particular area. And regardless of the fact that I was the daughter of a mother, every situation revolving end of life choices and attempting suicide is not the same. So in other words, even though I had experience from trauma childhood, I still didn't, I had the experience and I had some knowledge, but the situation was different from where I had come from and from what I had. And it was my son. So I had to take a step back and reevaluate and do the work to heal while my son is going through his healing process as well.
Right. So what do you think is one of the ways, or even some multiple ways, that the African American community can just help break that stigma of suicide?
Talk about it. Yep. Talk about it.
Communication.
Yes. And that's why I wanted to, that's where that platform or that space I want to create. I really want to, I created a safe space for the women to come in and talk. So the monthly meetings, although I'm advertising it, they will be private. I will screen people because that's like I told my niece who is on the board. There may be non-disclosure agreements that need to be signed because these women, I want them to feel safe in sharing their innermost feelings when it comes to this type of situation.
Right.
So talk, communication.
Yeah, and then and talk among themselves. You don't,
Yeah,
because I think that that's really a good thing, because sometimes you'll realize that not only are you not alone, but in some cases you may not be as bad off as you thought you were when you hear other
exactly.
people's stories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because when I started talking about it, that's when I heard one of my cousins, a distant cousin, but cousins that I went to high school with and everything. Her son was successful in ending his own life.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
And
that.
before that, someone that I had went to school with, son was successful in ending their own life. And some of these people I'm on Facebook with, or I have talking to them after their situation, their unfortunate happening occurred, never knew it. They never, it's hush hush, quiet, never would have. I knew that they weren't as active. You can kind of tell that there was a lapse of enthralled into what we used to would have talked about.
Right.
But I had to hear that from other people outside of them.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you would say one of the keys is to even make sure that you're communicating and not just taking so much time to focus on providing. Whereas, you're not there to talk, you're not there to see what's going on, you're not there to notice any particular changes because you're just going through your day-to-day routine.
What do you mean? I don't understand the question.
So what I mean is that if you don't notice or you don't know anything, it's because you're, as an adult, thinking just about the things that you have to take care of within your household. So
Oh,
let's
yes.
say, yeah. And I
Because
think
the
that
sons are older.
Mhm.
That's the other thing. And African American males don't talk. Me and my sons are close, but they don't share everything.
Right. Yeah, and you know what I'm going to tell you,
And you know that.
with my mom, she let me know at an early age she didn't want to know everything. And I'm just like, well, if I'm talking to you and I'm talking to my father, aren't I supposed to share? So that, she's just like, those are things you might want to share with a man, or those are the things that, I don't have time for. I'm doing this, but it wasn't that she didn't love me, but it was just that when it comes to our dynamic with our mothers, we have to be able to open up, and they have to be able to receive, to understand.
It's true. Yeah, I think the thing in our family, and it's in our the Maze men, we call it syndrome. They want to protect us, protect the women, and not hurt. They don't want their mothers, daughters, nieces. They're very protective and mindful, and of their actions, respectful.
Right.
Yeah, I come from some amazing men in my family.
That's beautiful. Now, did you have anything that you want to touch upon that we may not have talked about today?
No, not really. I appreciate that you've given me leadway to speak on the foundation and why I created it and what my intentions are with it.
Right.
I'm looking forward to seeing it grow.
Mhm.
I'm excited to bring in those who are interested in knowing more, and especially about the millennial generation,
Right.
because they're a little different, and I'm a fan of the millennials. I am a fan of the millennial generation. So I'm glad you've given me the opportunity to speak on it.
Well, we always look for big thinkers on our show, and a lot of times we've interviewed people, and then years later they're out there, they're doing their thing, and it's just a great thing to see that we may have interviewed them in the beginning, and now they're $1 million, $100 million company, or they're helping 100 million, millions of people you know, learn and get over some of the things that may be blocking them. And I've lost since I've been here in North Carolina a couple of stand-up guys to suicide, and you never know going by your day to day, and just the knowledge that they have that's lost right now. So when I found out what you were doing, and then I saw the website and how it was put together, and just knowing where your heart is, I was like, we have to get you on our show to just discuss this and share it, because it's a real needed thing. We just don't like those types of surprises.
Yes. Yes. But we don't like the surprises, but if we don't do something, then I mean, something has to be done. It's not our African American community in this regards. We need to. It's detrimental. It's a serious, beyond serious issue that we need some traction. We need some movement. We need communication. We need to talk. We need to heal. And yeah, it's time to, you don't have to be, my son did this. You don't have to broadcast it. But if you have an opportunity to speak on it in a safe space, do that. Take that opportunity to do that. And that's what I'm giving. That's what I want to give, is that opportunity.
Well, Wyona, I'm so happy that you came on the show, and I'd like to thank you for everything that you shared. And before we, go into conclusion, how can people reach you? And we're gonna, even though we're going to have this, at the bottom when people see the live interview, those who have seen the live video, those who will see the recorded interview, how can people reach out to you? What's the best way?
Through the website at this point.
Okay.
I encourage people to go to Mothers of AAMM Inc.org, Mothers of AAMM Inc.org, and either complete a go to contact us. There's also a number there, but send us an email at to info@mothersofAAMMINC.org.
All right, great. And I've already given my thanks to you for coming on. Is there any group of people or anything that you'd like to thank as well?
Yes, I had two coaches. Mia Redrick, she's the mom strategist. She helped me with my cultivated knowledge. I'm grateful for her. I also had Trina Boyd. You need to have Trina Boyd on your show. She is the phenomenal female that helped me get my foundation started.
Okay.
And she's been with me in the duration. I just got woke up this morning to a IM, and she's encouraging me and saying she likes my content and stuff like that. So Mia Redrick, Trina Boyd, all of my family. I have a magnificent family. I love my family. I love my family, and every last one of them, and all those who are to come. I want to thank them ahead of time. Thank them for supporting me, and you're more than welcome.
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate you guys. for tuning in to thinkbigradio.com to hear Wyona and her passion and how she's going to help you. And for all of the rest of you guys, you know what we do here at Think Big Radio. We empower those who choose to listen. And until our next interview, remember to think big. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Big. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're listening to thinkbigradio.com, where big thinkers come to teach and learn. Your goals are our goals, and your success makes us successful. You're listening to